Hi there, Anke Herman back again for another Facebook Live video here in the Ingenious Sewing Professionals Facebook group. And today I want to talk about how to market our sewing business. Well, in fact, it's actually the second take of this video. We just had a little incident with the dogs and a little cat. So I'm back now, and so we'll start again. Now, the reason I want to talk about marketing, it's the one thing that most people, when I ask them what they find most challenging about growing or starting a sewing business, everybody says something about, I'm really bad at marketing, I need to get better at marketing. Others say, well, I feel really nervous about marketing, and so it's all a bit overwhelming. And so yes, that's why I want to talk about that topic today. Now, it's actually not really surprising that the idea of marketing our sewing business is something that, freaks us out a little bit, because I think when you look at this all day long, we're bombarded with ads and marketing messages. So we're basically screamed at all day along the lines of buy my stuff, and creative people often, more shy than that, or a lot of us are actually quite introverted, and so the idea of going out there with some kind of sign around across our forehead saying, buy my stuff here and buy my stuff, a lot of people are really not comfortable with that, and so there's a aggressiveness to it that doesn't really appeal to us. And the other aspect of it is the, let's say, the technical challenges that people are sort of afraid of. In Facebook ads, and I don't know how all that works, or Google ads, or what should I do, and where should I advertise, and how, and all of that. So that's a bit of turn off for a lot of people as well. So if that's you, I think I have some really good news for you, because the whole thing is actually a lot simpler than we often kind of make it out to be. Now, because when you look at it, marketing is really nothing else than letting your client know that you exist, what you offer, and how they can get it. Really, that there's nothing else to it, really, and there's a million ways of doing that, and what to do really mainly depends on who you are actually trying to talk to, who are you trying to reach, and also what you feel comfortable doing. So I'm saying, well, if you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Hello. Oh, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Abhijidi? Sorry if I get it wrong. I'm happy you're here. So you don't really have to do anything that you don't want to do, because there's a million ways, and so it's more important to know that who you actually want to talk to, and find where they hang out and what kind of communication they respond to. They're now blindly going out and say, I've got to do Facebook ads and all of that. And so just an example, one lady in this group, Amelia Walker, she makes baby linen. So now she found that the people who are most often the ones looking for the kind of personalized service she offers, that special gift for a newborn baby, are actually the grandparents. So Amelia, if you're watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would swear you're not using Snapchat or something like that to market your business, because that's where these grandparents aren't likely to hang out. You might not think, maybe Instagram isn't it, but maybe it is, because maybe the grandparents hang out there because their kids and grandkids do. So it's just a matter of finding out where your ideal client hangs out. So that brings us to the point that I can't stress enough: figuring out who you actually want to work with. Who is your ideal client? That's really, one of, if you haven't got that right, if you're not sure, then the whole marketing thing is like, okay, now who who am I talking to? You know, then the whole thing gets confusing. And it is, if you look at the people who have introduced themselves in the group here, just take that group, and everybody who's been in business for a while, who's managed to create a successful sewing business, specializes in something like this. Amelia with the baby linen. Well, I do flamenco dance costumes, and there's a few other flamenco costume makers in the group as well. Then there's people who make things for mums to be, and you know, so whatever it is, but there's always a specialty. So because if you go out and say, well, I kind of sew anything for anybody, then nobody will really think of you when they're looking for something. It's a bit, and then there's probably also a lack of trust there. At least I have this thing. If I see a restaurant and it offers, like we offer Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Indonesian food, then I'm not feeling, well, you know, you try and do everything, and they may, but I always have to think, well, I kind of doubt that they're really good at any of it. So it just leaves it sort of a bit wishy-washy, and if I feel like Japanese food, that's not where I'm going to go to. I'm going to go find a Japanese restaurant. So before you go think about how to market your business, it's really important to think about who you want to serve, who you want to work for, and what it is that you offer to them. And then how to communicate that is the next step that often is kind of logical. And so you can, well, there's one thing that we have, I think, that works quite well for a lot of sewing businesses. You can get other people to do the work, because really, when you think about it, every item you make and that's out there is a piece of marketing. Well, I've never run an ad for my sewing business. I've never done Facebook. I've got a website I haven't touched in years. It's like, you know, my dresses are my marketing. It's like, and then the thing is, okay, there's flamenco dance costumes. It's something that's quite visible. You know, there's basically a dancer on stage, and then their friend goes, "Oh, I love your dress. Where'd you get that from?" "Oh, you know, I've got that dressmaker." And then she passes on their number, and so next time this lady wants a dress, then you know who she's going to call, because she's seen what you've got. She likes the kind of work you do, and then so by the time she calls you, you don't have to sell anything. So that's basically word of mouth, and even from what I've read in comments in the group, that's something that works rather nicely for a lot of people. Now the thing with it is, it's not exactly fast, because so now today somebody might ask her, "Oh, where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that thread? Where did you get that dress from?" And then so she's got your number, but that doesn't mean she's going to call you tomorrow. So she might call you like 6 months down the line. So you don't really have any control over when, and so that it's not something that you can force. You can't really force people to pass your name on, to recommend you, and then force these people to kind of call you up right away. So it's a way of slowly and steadily growing your sewing business, which isn't actually a bad thing, because if you're sort of starting out and then all of a sudden you get overwhelmed with orders before you have time to sort out your processes and how to do things, then that may not actually even be all that helpful. So have that develop slowly, I find, isn't really a bad thing. Well, depending on what you offer to whom, you don't even have to get technical at all. It doesn't have to be even online. You can, make sure you're listed in local directories. You can put a flyer, in the local church if that's where your target audience hangs out, and you can use social media in a way that isn't pushy at all. So just this morning I saw Vanessa, who's in this group. Hi Vanessa, if you're watching this. I'm going to use you as an example again. So she's a flamenco dressmaker in Australia as well, and so Vanessa posted this morning photos and of flamenco dancers, and she put that there. This is Olivia in her custom-made dance costume. Nothing more than that. There you go. And there were several photos and beautiful outfits, and so she doesn't have to say anything. She doesn't have to go and say, oh, you know, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. No, she doesn't. You know, somebody, if in her, you know, I think she posted on her personal profile. Doesn't matter. Like, okay, she dances flamenco, so there's bound to be other flamenco dancers in her circle, and they see this and then they go, oh God, I love that skirt. So now she's got that in her mind, and next time she'll look for a dance costume. You know, she knows Vanessa's there, and she knows where to go when she wants one. Now, the dancers mentioned there, so they're quite likely to share this or to comment on that, so their friends will see it. And so that's got nothing pushy or creepy about it. You know, so it's just, okay, here are samples of my work, and so there you go. You know, it doesn't have to be out there screaming aggressive or any of that. And so I think a lot of the time it's just about letting go of the pressure. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. And if you don't want to post on Facebook, just don't. You know, find another way to reach your audience, or let it grow slowly word of mouth. You know, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of experimenting and see what works for you. And so that's really all there is to it. You know, it isn't as technical as a lot of people fear, and it isn't creepy or aggressive or any of that. So it's just making sure people know you're there and what you've got to offer to them. And then, you know, it's up to them to contact you whenever they're ready. So if you've got, I'd love to hear from you. So if you've got a way of marketing your business that's worked brilliantly for you, please share it in the comments. I'd love to hear what's worked. Also, if you want to share what hasn't worked, what you've tried that hasn't actually worked, then that would be lovely too. You know, I think we also get a lot of the time, just reminds me of an email. Well, I had someone contact me a few years ago, and she was from a model agency or something. Basically, she wanted to invite me to exhibit at a flamenco fashion show. You know, and so she tried to sell me a stand where I could have my own sort of catwalk and a stand and whatever. And so the thing was, like, I do everything. Everything I do is custom made and made to order. So I don't have dresses hanging around that I could just go and exhibit there. So that was like, and the show was like 3 weeks later. And I said, "Lo, sorry, mate, can't do it. It's not enough time for me." But she did send me an invitation, so I could actually go and see what it was all about. And boy, was I glad I didn't buy anything, because yeah, it was a flamenco fashion show, mostly for feria, so it was just, it wasn't for dancers, and I could see the audience there. There was no potential client for me. So yeah, okay, the idea of having my own catwalk, whatever, you know, might sound, you know, kind of, well, sort of interesting, but it definitely wasn't something that was going to get my business anywhere. So it wouldn't have been an investment. It would have been just a giant waste of time. And I've been to several of those shows, and I've never felt that, you know, the cost would have been justified, you know, because no, that's not where my ideal clients hang out. And so if I go and create dresses to exhibit there, then yeah, that might be fun to see my dresses on a catwalk, but that's kind of that. You know, doesn't really get you anywhere. So it's really a matter of yeah, looking where your ideal audience hangs out, and then communicate with them there, and make sure they know you exist and they know what you offer and how you can help them. So if you've got any comments, or if you've got any way that's worked for you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, or contact me any other way, or share with the group. I'd love to hear from you. So there you go. Talk to you soon, and wishing you a very lovely day. Bye.